Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're talking about brand new releases from Guerlain. I have the new Terracotta Concealer and two of their new blushes. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. Let's start off by giving some product information, some product breakdown. So like I stated, I have the new Terracotta Concealer. This is called the Natural Perfection Concealer, 24-hour wear, no transfer. And I bought this on the Guerlain Canada website directly about a week or two ago. I see 16 shades available currently. I don't know if they will extend that or not. And this is 52 Canadian plus tax. So let's go ahead and read what their claims are. It says it's an all-natural, perfectly corrected complexion. Drawing on its scientific expertise and in-depth knowledge of powder and pigment, Guerlain has created a new concealer pairing the long-lasting power of a liquid concealer and the blurring radiance of a correcting powder, incorporating 95% naturally derived ingredients. I'll go ahead and include the ingredient list here. Please go ahead and pause it. I wanted to point this out as well. So it says here that the Terracotta Concealer comes in 16 shades corresponding to every intensity level of the Terracotta Le Teint foundation, which is what I'm wearing here. I'm wearing the Terracotta 3N foundation. They have a grid here and it shows you, depending on which shade foundation you are, you can find your concealer match. So if you want to use this as a reference, I think it's good. So I use the 3N for the foundation, but I got the 2.5N concealer because I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. I think that that's okay. We're going to go ahead and see it in a moment, but I think that that's fine. I think that this grid here, this scale, is a point of reference. I don't think it's the end-all be-all, but I do like this here as a point of reference for shopping online. It says here that the ultra soft applicator is going to deliver just the right amount of product and allow for endlessly buildable coverage. Interesting. So one thing to note, when you're pulling this out, don't just yank it really hard, because if you do, I find that a little bit of the concealer sort of splashes. Like if you just go like this, something about the liquid here flies a little bit. So I like to go a little bit more gingerly when I'm pulling it out. So it's supposed to be a natural effect. It is liquid, but it's a little bit creamy as well. This is what the texture is like. You can see here from the swatch, it's liquid, but it doesn't feel super duper fluid, almost like a mix between a liquid and a cream texture. Other added benefits claims here, it says that the long-lasting power of a liquid concealer, the blurring radiance of a correcting powder, a precise application, buildable coverage, corrects, illuminates the complexion naturally for up to 24 hours of long wear. I did do wear tests. I did not wear for 24 hours. It's supposed to be transfer proof and no touch-ups needed. So let's go ahead and try this out here. This is what the bottle looks like. It really does have the terracotta embossing here on the top. It looks like it's matching the terracotta foundations. It's on brand, it makes sense. I'm going to follow their instructions. So there are a couple of ways to wear this. You can wear it how I'm doing it here, which is as a concealer, but they also mentioned a stretch method, which is when you're wearing a little bit less makeup. I'm wearing more makeup today, but if you wanted to wear less makeup, you could wear the concealer and then using a big foundation brush, you could blend it out, but I'm going to use this as a concealer corrector and I'm placing it in those areas to brighten. Now I'm using the Prada Beauty concealing brush. I love this so much. It's wonderful for concealer, for anything like that. So I'm just going to blend this out. And again, I'm wearing the shade 2.5. And again, I'm wearing the shade 2.5. I may have taken a little bit too much concealer, so I'll just knock some on the back of my hand here. So So 2.5 neutral is described as light skin with neutral beige undertones. I only went a half shade under the guide scale that I showed you. I think that this works perfectly for me. I like the brightness. I like the illumination under the eye. So this is just the concealer here. I think that everything looks nice and illuminated. It looks fresh. I do often prefer concealers that have maybe a little bit more peach to it. It does have some peach to it, but I kind of like when it has a little bit more. I do think that this looks nice. It looks fresh and hydrated, like I stated, and you can see a little bit of radiance where I applied it. And this is brand new, this is fresh, nothing's creased or moved yet, of course not. So let's go ahead and go into the blushes here, and then towards the end I'll do the wear test and the final thoughts and all that jazz. So they also came out with the Terracotta blush series, which I'm so excited about because I just think that the blush series is something that's was really required. They hadn't revisited their blushes in a long time. So this is the Terracotta blush. These are 58 Canadian plus tax, and there are 6 shades to choose from. This is the Healthy Glow Powder Blush, 90% naturally derived ingredients. Of the 6 shades, I chose the first 2 because I was feeling something more pink, more cool toned, but there are other colors. There are plummy, there are coral colors too. I'm kind of wondering if I should have opted for something more coral, but I went with 001 Light Nude, and these have the exact same packaging as the luminizers, as the bronzers. They're just a little bit smaller. So this is what the size is here compared to the highlighter. And like I stated, this is 00 Light Nude. This has that signature scent that is familiar with a lot of Guerlain products. So this is the first one, 001. And then I also picked up 01 Light Pink. I've just been in a pink mood recently. And they do look different. Just give me a moment here. I will swatch them. This is what the 2 blushes look like side by side. 00 Light Nude looks a bit more pink, a little bit more cool toned in a way. And then the 01, this is light pink. It has a little bit more mauve, a little bit more plum. I mean, it's not that deep, but there is a big difference. I'm glad that there's a difference between these 2 here. It's hard to tell from the swatches online because promo photos always look a bit wild, but I'm very happy with these 2 here. Let's see what else it says. It says it's going to reveal and set off cheekbones with a delicate shade reminiscent of the freshness that rises to the cheek after an outdoor experience. Okay, so maybe this is more of a buildable, like a slow burn blush, maybe because it's saying it's going to, you know, transparently reveal itself. That sort of healthy glow, like that healthy pink cheek, but I'm wondering if it's going to have to be buildable. It says it's a lightweight and airy texture. It's long-lasting, comfortable powder, reveals the skin's natural undertones with a perfectly balanced, ultra-buildable second skin veil of color. Interesting. Okay. I'll go ahead and include the ingredient list here. Please go ahead and pause it. 00 Light Nude is described as fresh and delicate beige pink, and 01 Light Pink is a soft and elegant bluish pink. Wonderful. Honestly, I think the dilemma you may have will be to choose only a couple because they do look very lovely. So we'll go ahead and apply these on the cheeks now. I'm going to use this Chanel blush brush here. The brushes that I'm using, they're all listed down below. So we'll go like half and half. We have 2 blushes, we have 2 cheeks. So the first one here, I'm just going to put some on. I'm not sure exactly how much to apply. I would say that this is a soft matte finish. It's not glittery, it's not sparkly. I would say it is luminous, but it's not, you can definitely add a highlighter over top very easily. It's also buildable, like it is soft. You will have to dip into this a couple of times to get the color payoff. I'm adding a bit more here because I want you to see what it looks like on the cheek. So I think the last swirl that I did definitely added more, but I think that this is very light and buildable. It isn't like flat, but I think this could be more luminous. I like it, but it's more luminous in other areas. I think that I would like maybe a little bit more luminosity. It isn't bad. I just like when there's a little bit of that finely milled lightness in it. So switching over to the other blush, I'm using my Refer 37. I'll go, well, I don't know if this shade will be exactly like the previous one. Okay, still very light, very buildable. I mean, they did describe it as like a second skin, and I've never seen a blush described like that. It's often foundations, tinted moisturizers, things like that. I went ahead and added a bit of the lip oil here from Guerlain. This is the shade 309 Honey Glow. It's gorgeous. I reviewed this a couple weeks ago. Absolutely love it. I love a lot of the new releases from Guerlain. Okay, so here are the two blushes here. Hopefully you can see both of my cheeks. I didn't apply any highlighter. This is just the concealer, the foundation, and the blushes here. So I think the longer that these blushes stay on my face, the more I like them. At first I was like, could be more luminous, could be more radiant, but there's something sort of adaptive about the quality of the blush where it's sort of like there's more glow. I don't know if I'm hallucinating this, but it just looks more glowy, more radiant. So that's property they were talking about before. You know, you just come out from an outdoor activity, you have your cheeks pinched, you look healthy, you look a little bit flushed. I think it is there. I do see it. The longer it stays on my cheeks, the more that healthy, natural glow is there. However, this is very, very buildable. Like I could still go in and tap a little bit more. It's very light. It's very sheer, which can be good and bad. Some people like just taking their brush once and applying. However, it's always easier to add blush than it is to remove it. So there is that. It reminds me a little bit of, remember the Chanel Les Beige blush that just came out a couple, like what, 6 weeks ago? And that one there, you do have to build and build and build to get the payoff, and it is very beautiful. This reminds me of that, in that nature, where you will have to swirl and add, like, go in a couple of times. Maybe the first time you want to dig in there a lot just to see, but I do see myself swirling in there a little bit more than other blushes. But I do like the finish. I think that the payoff is nice once you do get the shade you want. And you know, it's like I stated, it's so much easier to add blush than it is to remove. So it's a little bit more user-friendly, a little bit less goof-proof, because that way you can just slowly build up. Now, I don't know which blush I prefer. I think I might prefer 01. I think they're both very pretty. There is a little bit of nuance on each side. I think 01 looks a little bit more natural, whereas 00 kind of looks a bit more like blush. But let me know in the comments, which blush do you prefer? Do you prefer the first one or the second one? There's no wrong answer. I think that both of them look pretty. I think both of them for me are different enough that I can find an excuse to own both of them, but I think that these are pretty. They wear nicely with other makeup, you know, they play nicely with other products. So I do like these. I think that they're very nice. They have a 12-month expiration date, which is good, although I'm going to use these for more than 12 months. I will be perfectly frank with you. And the concealer here, usually a liquid is like, oh, it says 6 months. I will try my best to use this up in 6 months. I probably will not. Let's go to the wear test. So I did a couple of wear tests here. The first one is maybe 4 or 5 hours of wear. There's a little bit of wear, or not wear, but like, not even transfer, just, you know, concealer is not a tattoo, it's makeup. A little bit of evaporation, if you will. Just a tiny bit, but not really any creasing or caking, because I have an expressive face and I have crow's feet, so I always check for that. And then this one here is at the end of the day. Everything still looks bright and luminous as much as it can be. Again, no creasing, some fading. I know they all say that they're fade proof, transfer proof, they'll stay in place all day. To a certain extent, I think that this stayed in place like 90% of the way at the end of the day. And then I have another wear test here for a different day. This is at the very, very end of the day, maybe like 8 or 9 hours. I feel like there was more fading here. I think this day in general, I was wearing less makeup. And so I feel like there was just a little bit more fading. Again, nothing creasing, nothing picking up in the smile lines. And then the very last one here is another like 7-8 hour wear test. A little bit of fading, not very much. No creasing, no transferring. That stayed in place. So yeah, I think both of these are very good. I'm very happy to have both. I like that this is in a tube like this, like the Armani concealer. I like that you can just pull it out very quickly. It's better for travel. But before I leave you, I should actually do some swatches here. So I have the Armani concealer that I just mentioned here. I have this one side by side, and this is the Armani 5.5, which I really like. This one is much more liquidy, much more fluid in texture. And then I also have my absolute favorite, my Chanel Sublimage concealer. This is in a jar. It's a thick cream. Definitely a different texture, but I think a little bit closer. It's so funny that I wear all three of these and I like them all. So this one here looks more yellow from Guerlain. From Armani, it looks more beige, and then Chanel looks more peachy. These are just some references here. It's so funny sometimes when I swatch complexion products, it seems like they're all three different colors, but somehow they work. One thing I don't like though is that you can't really just yank it out because you will get some makeup splash. So you have to do what I did. Like you have to go like this and then just like slowly go like that. Otherwise you will get a little bit of makeup splashing, which I'm not a fan of. But I do think it's a nice concealer. I think it blurs. I think it hides dark circles. It corrects. It does stay in place. You don't have to set it. All those days, I didn't set it. There was no powder. Everything just stays in place. I do think it stays brightening and illuminating for most of the day. It's not, you know, it's not a tattoo. It's makeup, not a tattoo. I think it's lovely. I think the blush is lovely. The longer it stays on the cheeks, the lovelier it gets. So I think both of these are very nice. Do you need them? Listen, you know your budget, you know your collection more than me. I think I like both of these releases. I like the concealer. I think it's good. I think it stays in place. It doesn't crease. I don't have to go like this at the end of the day, which is the worst thing ever. I think the blushes are nice, but they are very buildable. You will have to swirl a few times. So do with that information what you will. You're an adult. You can make these decisions. I think you will see these new products on my channel a lot in the near future. So if you're not subscribed, you definitely should subscribe because you will miss out on a lot of good reviews and tutorials. And one last thing to note, I bought the concealer from the Guerlain Canada website directly. That was very seamless, took a few days, got some samples. The blushes I ordered from the Hudson Bay online. That was the opposite of a seamless order. I paid for overnight fast shipping, a total waste of money. I never received like a confirmation email that I placed an order. So after like 3 or 4 days, I had to go into my Hudson Bay account to see where's my stuff. You took my money. I saw that they had used Purelator, and so I had to go into Purelator and use the tracking code, and then it said that Purelator had attempted delivery, which they had not. So I then had to go to a facility to go pick up my package. If you have the choice, I would say maybe go with Guerlain Canada or .com directly. That's what I'm going to do from now on. Anyway, I just wanted to add that information because I know a lot of you do shop online. But anyway, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for stopping by. Leave a comment down below. Let me know which blush color you prefer, one or or 0 or 1, the first one or the second one. And maybe if you've made it to the end of the video, leave a little pink heart emoji, any pink emoji for pink blush. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.